Hello, everybody. I will be discussing with you the spending review for implications for R&D and the sort of sectors that are affected. But the industrial strategy was actually released yesterday, so I have been very hastily putting together some notes on that, and there are some significant pieces of information that have come out of that. It does look as though the government is prioritizing research. There were questions over whether or not the investment in R&D specifically would be higher or lower, and it does look as though it is going to be above inflation. So let's have a look first at the spending review. So the spending review has some key headlines. They are security, health and public services, economic growth, and reforming the state. So obviously, with the geopolitical situation, the UK is investing more in security to be a more independent nation, not reliant on any key partners across the pond for protection. Health and public services, obviously the NHS and the social welfare has been a huge issue and continues to need change support, etc. And it's moreover in economic growth and reforming the state where the most digital twin opportunities arise. So there have been 86 billion pounds committed to UK science and tech R&D. So this is a key area, obviously, and as I say, it was higher than before. With the continuing expansion of combined authorities, mayoral combined authorities, and now the new combined county authorities, there's a lot of regional consolidation going on, and £500 million has been made available for these regional authorities for innovation funding under local innovation partnerships, which will potentially make it more difficult to find work, as you'll need to look in more places. But there have also been announcements in terms of a new way of procuring innovation from the government. So we'll have to see how that goes. Now, the spending review isn't done. There's still the 10-year infrastructure strategy, the 10-year defence industrial strategy to be released. So more to go. Now, the bad news. I've been waffling on to try and soften the blow. There is no mention of digital twins in the spending review. However, digital data and technology are right at the start underneath the reforming the state work. So while there is no direct digital twin funding, as might have been the case previously when the National Digital Twin was funded, there are a lot of areas that digital twins will be able to impact. So these include the government is continuing to relocate the civil service out of London, which means new premises, which means innovation, which means new opportunities. There is also kind of under the same umbrella, £27.8 billion from the National Wealth Fund for clean energy, digital manufacturing and transport. So this is offshore wind, which is obviously a very data-rich environment, and there's a lot of work to do to refresh the UK's offshore wind. There's 3 billion R&D and capital funding for manufacturing until 2030, not just tomorrow. But that has a significant emphasis on net zero carbon vehicles. Glasgow will be one to watch, as the National Wealth Fund is partnering with them for an investment zone, and they will be working to find ways to invest. Within transport, £15.6 billion for the new transport for city region settlements linked to clean energy, electrical vehicles, batteries, and electrification. So there are a lot of sort of big infrastructure spends that will change that world. Now, defence, new nuclear weapons program, directed energy weapons, autonomous systems, and the infrastructure of the estate has all received a significant bump. And schools and housing have also received a kind of a pledge of follow-on funding. So there is an ongoing debate about whether blue skies thinkers rule the roost in terms of R&D, or whether it's the practitioners. And this does seem to move the dial somewhat towards practitioners and people making change. So the industrial strategy has a much better looking front page. There is one mention of digital twins. It's referenced in terms of scaling up innovation and automation alongside things like Internet of Things and AI. AI had 95 mentions. So AI is getting, obviously, digital twins and AI, I think, will go hand in hand. AI growth zones have been announced. The Sovereign AI Unit will be working with the British Business Bank, and the Artificial Intelligence Research Resource will be getting more investment for supercompute and investment in AI skills. So a lot of work being done there. However, in the spending review, data could be said to be the bigger winner with 114 mentions. And I think it's really important that we acknowledge some of the good work that has come out of the Digital Twin Hub and its partners and friends. There is a pledge to improve access to data for innovators, which I think is really significant in terms of the way that government data is handled and shared and used, which will make it easier to implement digital twin solutions. That includes improving the connectivity of data sets between different areas. And they have made a commitment to have a data valuation framework by April 2026. They're talking about standardizing the licenses for public sector data, again, to make it all much easier. And then £12 million has been allocated for data sharing infrastructure to be spent by April 2026. So I know that the various people within the Digital Twin Hub community, often led by Sarah Hayes, will be over the moon at that. And there is also £36 million for new smart data schemes as well. So although digital twins aren't being mentioned, it is clear that the underpinning, it feels like a lot of the knowledge that is necessary to implement digital twins has actually been listened to, and the conversations there are being had. Now, the UK recently released the performance review of digital spend, and they criticised it for overly complex, often short-sighted interventions. And it seems as though the skills necessary to procure good digital by government and to fund good R&D is improving and moving in the right direction. So alongside the things already mentioned in the spending review and the industrial strategy, there are another number of areas that may get some impact, including the planning system, significant investment in cybersecurity, etc. So it's a very interesting time in digital twin, data, AI, etc. And really look forward to seeing how this will pan out.
Henry, you mentioned that digital twins weren't mentioned in the spending review because the National Digital Twin Programme wasn't in there. Do you have visibility on what the continuation of the National Digital Twin Programme is? Thoughts around
So
it?
there's no mention of that, which would imply to the casual reader that it's not getting any follow-on funding. But as I said, with things like the National Infrastructure Strategy and the Defence Industrial Strategy not being released, the spending review is not the end of spending announcements. So it's entirely possible that there will be more funding allocated to that, and perhaps it's just a question of aligning it with milestones and delivery and value and all those sorts of things. So I think it's still one to watch. Just because it's not in there doesn't mean it's not getting further funding, but it's certainly not as close to the priorities as data is, which is getting its definite own areas. So we will see.
For both speakers, so Henry, you mentioned the number of times that AI was mentioned, 90 plus. It came up in some work that Tech UK have been doing recently. Do digital twins need to embrace data and AI more explicitly in standards, but also in approach, funding, etc., to keep up with the direction of policy and spending? Something Mark Enzer talks about, digital twinning as a more embracing term, for example. I don't know what your thoughts are. Who wants to jump in on that one?
I'll have a go.
Please.
I saw Dan open his mouth and I was like, get in there. So yeah, I think yes, I think the evolution towards data-led decision making, data architects, data engineering, and those sorts of terms are going to stand the test of time. And I think in the digital twinning world, you need to acknowledge that that's where the investment is, and that's what's important. I think digital twins will be important, but that sometimes language adapts over time.